my neighbor was Nancy Machino Brown Dornan.
Machinos, we all know the jingle. I won't try to sing it.
Right. So she invited us to dinner.
Small business owner.
And after we had dessert, she went around the room to everybody that was there and asked what their dream was. And Susie said her dream was to have a natural food store in Springfield like her mom's. And Nancy
is that when the opportunity clicked for you? Was in this? I mean, you point back to that moment.
I do point back to that moment because that was when it kind of became a reality that it might happen. Because she's like, I have a spot. I think I might have something. Talk to me in a couple weeks. And so Susie and I were like, wow, are we going to really do this? And she goes, I have no doubt that this will take off.
Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining us for another episode of At Home with Emily, a podcast about creating a life you love. And this week, I told you we were going to have a very special guest, and she is here, Diana Hicks. You may not know her name, but I bet you know the name Mama Jeans. And she is the co-founder behind what has become a cult following really all around our community. And even if you don't shop there on a regular basis, you certainly know what it is. And anytime you need something special, you know where to go. Mama Jeans. It's an amazing accomplishment.
Thank you.
And thank you for being here with us today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So Diane and I are going to talk a little bit about her story because she is another entrepreneur who did not start out that way. And I just think your story is so fascinating because you are another one who you didn't immediately go to college, graduate, and decide that you're starting your own business. You were working for the man, corporate life.
For sure.
And interestingly, here we are at the studio. I mean, not but a stone's throw away, we can see your former employer of 30 years, O'Reilly.
Right.
I mean, that's one of the biggest corporations in the country, much less Springfield. And you were there for decades, right?
30 years.
What was that like?
Oh, it was fun. I didn't quit because I didn't like my job, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I got there at just the right time when all the opportunities were presenting themselves. And pretty much if you had a desire to do something and you let them know what it was, and you were good at it, they would let you try different things. And so I got in, I started in accounting, and I'm not really good at math.
That wasn't the best fit.
That wasn't the best fit. It was fun. I loved who I worked with, but then I moved into advertising, and that was fun too. But then when I got into communications, and I got to go around and meet all the people, and then I started getting into photography, and so I became the company photographer, and I would take pictures.
You meet everybody doing that.
I just loved doing that. And, I would go to stores and visit people and talk to them and get their stories. And then I would come back and we would write a magazine that we called Team Spirit. And it was a full-color magazine that we put out every month for all of the employees. It was kind of a touchy-feely thing. And, I just really enjoyed taking their picture, getting to know them, writing about them.
And you found your lane in people, getting to know people, learning their stories, sharing their stories. And that was really what was driving you when you were in the corporate world, was getting to do that.
Right. Like I said, I didn't leave there because I didn't like my job.
Right. You could have stayed there forever and been happy.
Right.
And so I think that's one very unique thing about your story. And so everyone's listening and they're thinking, then how? Why? Where? Did you have a hidden passion for natural grocer or for the supplement business, or was that part of your lifestyle? Or how did Mama Jeans come to be?
Well, I met Susie.
Co-founder.
The co-founder. And she was working at her mom's store in Ava.
tiny little
a
shop.
tiny little health food store,
Middle of nowhere, you could say.
like maybe a 2,500 square foot store. Mm-hmm. And when I met her, I went into the store and I was fascinated by all the bulk
What was it
items.
like?
I loved the smell. Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of people say Mama
You
Jean
walked
smells
into this
good.
station today and I said, you smell like Mama Jean's.
Right. I loved the smell. And then just all the different things that she had, you know, like all the different teas, all the different spices. And I just was fascinated by it.
Not something you're going to find at the big box grocery store or at your Walmart, for
Right.
instance.
And the people also who shopped there, you know, the back to the landers from around the Ava area.
Well, what
would
year
come
was
in.
this?
It was 96, I guess,
Okay,
when I met
so we're in the
Susie.
90s.
And she told me that her dream, or, you know, that she thought a store like her mom's would go over a lot better where there were more people. And I was
And your
like,
wheels started turning.
kind of. I mean, as much as I loved O'Reilly, you always have a dream to maybe be your own boss someday.
Right?
And I was kind of there after working there for almost 30 years. Well, that time I started in 78, so
Wow.
I had been there,
Most of your career.
right. So I'd been there over 20 years, or almost 20 years when I met Susie. And so we just kept being friends. And, of course, we didn't open until 2002. And what really was the kicker was my neighbor was Nancy Machino Brown, born in...
Machinos, we all know the jingle. I won't try to sing it.
Right. So she invited us to dinner.
Small business owner.
And after we had dessert, she went around the room to everybody that was there and asked what their dream was. And Susie said her dream was to have a natural food store in Springfield like her mom's. And Nancy
Is that
was
when
just
the
like,
opportunity clicked for you? Was in this, I mean, you point back to that moment.
I do point
fair
back
amount.
to that moment because that was when it kind of became a reality that it might happen, because she's like, I have a spot. I think I might have something. Talk to me in a couple weeks. And so Susie and I were like, wow, are we going to really do this, you know? And she goes, I have no doubt that this will take off. And so I was like, well, I'm not going to quit my job now, you know, until it gets going. And so, 2002, we leased the building. And I mean, we didn't have a lot of money. Like, we laid every tile ourselves in that
Wow.
floor. We did all the woodworking. We did all the painting. We worked from, I think we got possession of the building in September, and we had one guy that was doing all the infill for us. And by Jean's birthday, we opened. Her birthday's December 3rd.
Jean's being Mama. Mama
Susie's
Jean's
mom, Jean.
And what was her store called?
Jean's Healthway.
Jean's Healthway. So you didn't take that name to Springfield.
No.
How did that come to be?
Well, Susie's mom, her granddaughter called her Mama Jean because she lived with them. So she had her mom and her grandma, so she called her mom, and then her mom, Mama Jean. And so whenever we were talking about what we were going to name the store, Susie's like, what would you think about Mama Jean's? And I go, because I called my mom Mama. I get choked up. Anyway, we decided that would be a great name, that we could name it after our moms. Now
Take your time.
I need a
Diana.
minute.
You're good. Take your time.
I told you I
time.
choke up when I talk about something.
Well, what's interesting about Mama Jean's is even if people don't know you or Susie, there is that feeling there of tight-knit and small and local and neighbors. And that's really missing on the grocery landscape. And so when you go in and you talk about how, then first of all, the name's amazing. It's so catchy to me. It's a Trader Joe's. It's, it's got that following that you never forget it. It stays in your mind. But when you talk about how that came to be, that really fits into what you've become. Despite the growth, you're not just the one location anymore, but I think people still have that feeling when they shop Mama Jean's.
Yeah, well, you can always trust your mama.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Don't forget that, boys.
Yeah. Yeah, you can always trust your mama.
And so that was the moment, had to be whenever you were in there working on that and you came up with that name, you probably knew you were going to be onto something.
I think so. I mean, like, my mom would be like, aren't you scared? I mean, you're leaving it, or you're starting. I'm like, don't worry, Mom, it'll be fine. Well, I'm praying for you. I'm like, well, I appreciate that.
Which can also be a way of saying, I don't think this is a good idea. It's sort of praying. She probably really was.
Oh, I'm
praying
sure she was.
For you and
praying.
Bless your heart. It's always kind of are you nuts? But did you have those moments where you thought, maybe I am nuts? Maybe I shouldn't be doing this.
I
Maybe
never really
we should.
did have that feeling. I just think
so. You really had that.
I had all the
confirmation.
faith in Susie, and I had all the faith in the community that they would support us because we were going to be something special.
And so, what were those first months like?
Well, they were kind of chaotic but fun because, we were like, oh, wow, we made enough money to pay for the truck tomorrow. And, yeah, we just, I guess maybe we just didn't know any better that, we just thought we had it all, we just knew that it was going to work, and it did. And then it took off so fast. It wasn't very long until we didn't have the space to keep backstock until the next truck could come. And so we were running out of stuff. And so we were like, we need more space or another location we asked our landlord, Nancy, for more space. And she was like, I don't think we can do that. We wanted to move into the next building. And we're like, okay. So that's when we heard that Matt O'Reilly was putting in that Green Circle Shopping Center. So I approached him
on Republic Road
about moving in there, and he welcomed us. And so in 2008, 8808, we moved into that building. And it was like a necessity because we were running out of...
bursting at the seams.
Right. And so not the best time to maybe expand your business, but...
2008 was a recession.
Right.
And so we didn't see a lot of people opening at that time. It was kind of tough for a lot of folks.
No, just us and Dynamic Earth.
But groceries are an essential. And at that time, your name was out there of what you did. Did you have customers who were hoping for you to come to that side of town?
They were. A lot of people that live on the south side of town, they don't like to drive.
They never
past
come north.
Sunshine.
I know.
Or some don't even pass Battlefield. So
you knew that you had a clientele there that you could capture. Did you do a bunch of fancy market research, or was this just a matter of people telling you?
I don't think we did a bunch of fancy market research for that location. And when we moved out to 65 and Sunshine, we did, because the same thing started happening. We didn't have enough room to keep enough backstock until the next truck would come. And we're like, what are we going to do? And
what year was that?
That was... 2012 when we started looking, and then we bought that building that used to be the furniture broker building, and that was a stone's throw west of Sam's, and we opened that in April of 2013.
There's several grocery stores right there in that area. But what do you feel like sets Mama Jean's apart? I mean, obviously there's a lot of things, but...
Well, I mean, we're a grocery store, but everything in our store is healthy. I mean, there's no trans fats, there's no preservatives. We're very picky about what we bring into our store, and we'll look at the ingredient list, and if it has one of our no-nos, then we're just like, sorry, we can't bring
How many no-nos are there?
Well, several. No, no nitrates.
Most of the things in most of the mainline foods.
Right. No preservatives. I mean...
Interesting. You don't hear that very often.
Yeah, we don't. Yeah, we're very picky.
And so at this point now, we're at our third location. And I only know this from speaking with you before, but at this point, weren't you still working your corporate job also while trying to manage the store?
I was working the corporate job until the end of 2008. So we opened the second location in August of 2008. And that's when Susie said, Dee, I need you to quit your job. And I said, I've got to stay there until I can say I worked there for 30 years. Plus, I wanted to get the ring. And then after my anniversary date was in October, and then I realized, I have to stay till the end of the year to get the bonus. And by the end of the year, she was like, come on already.
And by the way, making that leap, it's a process, and it's not easy.
It wasn't easy, but then again, it was. I just felt like it was the right thing. And, I mean, I'd been working there nights, weekends, vacations, and I loved it. It was fun.
I think that's a good place to stop at that transition point of when you decided that, okay, we officially have something here that's going to require my full attention. And I'm going to take the leap and leave the corporate job behind. So let's pick back up with that next time. Can you stay for one more episode with us?
Oh, sure.
Okay, that sounds great. And thank you again for joining us for this episode of At Home with Emily, a podcast about creating a life you love. Be sure to head to aroundtheozarks.com and sign up for our newsletter so you can be notified of all our podcasts. We will be dropping our next episode with Diana next Wednesday. And so if you're watching us on YouTube, be sure to like and subscribe. We'll see you next time.
Hey everyone, it is Ryan Seacrest here. Ready to heat up your summer vacation? Get ready, things are about to get sizzling at Chumba Casino. Your summer getting a whole lot hotter with a special daily login bonus waiting just for you. So sign up now for reels of fun and reels of prizes right here at Chumba Casino with yours truly. Join me at ChumbaCasino.com and dive into a summer of social casino fun.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino. No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 18 plus. Terms and conditions apply.